Greetings, my friends. I thought I would do a recorded version this time of the reading from the trilogy. We are in the final book, the third book, and we are at chapter 11. So here we go. Prayer is most real when we refuse to say amen. We most love heaven when we will not end our conversations quickly. Hell is filled with those who found their amens close at hand. While Dreamer meditated on the perils of his flight, his aching thoughts gave birth to drowsiness that left him in between his two realities. Sound shattered his semi-conscious state. The spectrum of his mind spun, twisted into colors, swirling over gray. The brilliance left the caverns one full universe away. Lifeland was thronged by a sea of men who waited in eager expectation. Down the azure plain, the army of the singer moved in silence. Dreamlike, they marched in cadence to a muted drummer who called their steps precisely. The troops advanced between the stone-faced sentries. Ansand and the singer led the legions. When they arrived at the great chair, they stood and reviewed the passing troops. The phoenix screamed, "Move back, Galactus Nebulae! Hide the shining sea! Make ready for the war of wars! Terra dies! Leave a black place for her tomb. Earthmaker will not stay her doom." Then the phoenix rose far above her flaming column and sang the battle hymn. "Warfare comes to the plains of man. Terror soon shall pass away. Grandeur to the troubadour. Raise the praise in gilded flame till fiery letters etch the name of love across the walking universe. Singer, prince of planets, troubadour of life." The army raised their gleaming halberds in the air and cried an ancient phrase. "Earthmaker, singer, and invader be the substance of infinity." In a moment there was a thunder on the azure plain. Dreamer strained to see the coming horseman, but when the steed was near enough to see, it rose into the air above the plain. It soared on graceful wings and then descended to the crystal shelf before the chair. One of the knights exclaimed, "It is the winged Invictress, created in her splendor to slay the Volcans of the Emperor." A warrior echoed, "Earthmaker's golden knights shall fly and slay the 7 dragons in the atmosphere of Terra." Ansand walked to the great winged horse and placed his foot in the stirrup. He swung into the saddle. At a single command, the great steed spread her wings and lunged into the sky. The awesome span would have cast a terrifying shadow had shadows been permitted there. Chapter 12. Come to the court of God, having eyes unwashed with dreams, and you will see nothing. Other hoofbeats sounded in a blinding sphere of light that came in furious speed and thundered to the singer's very feet. Dreamer closed his eyes against the brilliance and sought to stop his ears against the sound. A chorus rose. "Light Raider comes from that frontier where stars uncluster dark with fear, cower in their eternal night, and beg Earthmaker's steed of light." The light softened gradually. Dreamer saw Light Raider, magnificent and opalescent. From within his massive torso, flames shot out in beams and swept the court. He had no wings, yet he was larger half again than Invictress. His bridle and reins were like strands of raw color, interlaced illusions. The saddle swam in shimmering blue-white hues that undulated in the towering phosphorescence of the chair. A small, bright object rested just before the saddle on a little plain, where the mane flowed round it. It was the same blue ball the singer healed when the dreadful duel of Ansand and the World-Hater was done. Again the phoenix flew and interrupted Dreamer's meditation. Command and dominion, authority and grace. Earthmaker has congealed the emptiness of space. A new world comes upon the singer's horse. It is the hour of the replacement. A hush fell on Lifeland. The singer walked toward Light Raider with deliberate steps. As he walked, he sang. Now is complete the Father's Spirit's dream of one small planet sleeping in the sun, of perfect love. The universal gleam of life as it should be is now begun. Look up. Terra comes made new again, a home for all those who soon will be left planetless in space. Poor, hungry men in sterile fields of humanity, I take you in my injured hands. While he sang, he took the new world from before the saddle and held it high. The court of the chair fell on their faces while the troubadour sang out his ballad to the bright blue sphere. I knew your sister world. She flew around her radiant star without disease or pain or war, until the new men stabbed the ground of love. She dies and cannot rise again. My Father's Spirit shall not let her lie a grieving vacant deadness in the night. A gallant orbit shall new Terra fly, where her elder sister died in flight. Earthmaker's love is born anew and flies the skies as Terra too. Light Raider pawed the ground and tossed his head and snorted, half reared, then settled on his great forelegs and knelt. The singer mounted. Light Raider rose. Taking the reins in his left hand, the singer raised the broadsword in his right hand and led the army down the star-swept skyway toward the plains of man. Chapter 13. Those at Ravensbrück rejoiced above the rumor that the Allies were on their way. Those about to die determined they would live and strained upon the housetops to catch the first glimpse of the color guard of freedom. Light Raider pranced before the host. Dreamer could see the end of ranks and files of soldiers. Some were mounted and some on foot. He meditated on the hour when Terra 1 would give her orbit up and Terra 2 should roll to take her place. Whatever Elan did was now of little consequence. Whatever lies the Prince of Mirrors told, it mattered not. The army of the liberation was on its way. He felt himself beginning to return and despised the steel-cold air about him. He fought, but could not hold the brighter world. It slipped away. He plummeted disconsolate and gray. Terra 1 declared to him her morbid self. In Dreamer's final hope of hanging on, he saw the troubadour astride his powerful mount. With sword held high, the singer passed the street of Monolith. The gates flung wide. Beyond the open wall, a long and starless road swung down between the pale and clustered light. Even as the cavern walls closed Dreamer in, he smiled to hear the army singing through the gates. Raise in praise in gilded flame, till fiery letters etch the name of love across the waking universe. Singer, prince of planets, troubadour of life. And far in advance of singing nights, the winged Invictress flew. Above the starless road she bore the golden knight, whose wounds at last were healed. And that's the end of the reading for this time. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and grant you his peace.